and he's going to house it.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another NFL and college football picks show here with the Angle of Pursuit. My name is Kyle Robert. You follow me on Twitter at NotoriousKRO. With me to pick three games as well, it's Brian Twining. What's up, Brian?
What's going on, Kyle? Yeah, the picks haven't been the greatest of late, but I will say I've thoroughly enjoyed this football season, especially the NFL. Can you believe it? We're already freaking headed to week 3.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It feels like we're always itching for the season to start. We're ready for the games. We're ready to make, drafting teams. And then the season gets here, and then we blink 3 times, and the season's over, and we're watching the Super Bowl happen, and Lombardi Trophy be lifted, and all that stuff. So yeah, we'll have picks this week. Week 3 of the NFL season, week 4 of the college football season. I mean, we're going to be the playoff before we even know it. But let's recap the week that was before we get into the week that is. Brian Twining, my card is a mess. It shouldn't have been a mess because most of my Saturday and a lot of my Sunday was just green dots. If you have the Action Network, Notorious KRO is my name on there. I have a lot of bets. I had a lot of teams I liked. I told you I like New England. I didn't.
You were right on that.
Card.
I was all over Pittsburgh.
What else did I like? I liked. I don't remember. I'm looking on there right now, but.
And we should have added any Michigan total spread, whatever.
Yeah, no, we talked about that first quarter full game. I couldn't find the full game, so I was gonna first quarter and first half were there. I couldn't get that. I was like, why didn't I bet that? Yeah, I like New England. I like Jacksonville. I liked a lot of stuff. Didn't make it on the card. I apparently really liked Auburn, and they are just a flaming dumpster.gif. Brian Harsin is going to be fired probably yesterday. They're just waiting for the boosters to ring up the money. Sean Clifford went in there and absolutely demolished them, something that should never, ever happen. So that was a big fat L. I think we were on the right side. Well, I'll flip over and show Brian's card here in a second, but I'm still convinced New Orleans was the right side. We should have bet them. I would bet them again. The Mike Evans, Marshawn Lattimore fight
dominating.
Completely flipped that game and made it all wonky.
Well, the real Jameis Winston showed up.
Yep, unfortunately. Luckily, the Niners did come through, even with Trey Lance breaking his leg and being out for the year. So that was brutal. But yeah, the Niners covered with ease. Probably should put a little more on them and a little less on Auburn. But needless to say, that wasn't ideal. You went first half with your over in Syracuse and Pittsburgh. If you had gone full game, you would have got there as the game got really drunk in the second half. The first half, I don't know what was going on.
I don't know what they were doing.
It was very weird for them. It was like a 9-6.
It was like a feel out period or something.
Yeah. So very, very bizarre. As we mentioned, New Orleans, I'm still convinced that was the right side. And then the Bills over Tennessee was absolutely the right side. The Titans are a complete mess. They are so poorly coached. I'm not optimistic about.
I mean, we could also just chalk that up to the fact that Buffalo is quite possibly the best team in the NFL, and it's not even close.
So on the season, I'm 5-4, but down 3.88 units. Not ideal. You're 3-6, down 9.94 units. Not ideal, but we have the next week to get into, and let's do that right here. And since I am winning, I gave myself the ability to go first, and I will start on Saturday, where I am taking Middle Tennessee plus 26.5 at the Miami Hurricanes. The Hurricanes are not good. They have pieces that are interesting, but I don't think they have a full team. They have a lot of injuries. They had injuries going into that game against Texas A&M. We saw how pathetic their offense is. They have more injuries this week. I don't think Middle's good. But 26.5 is just simply too much. I think Cristobal wants to run the ball. I think he wants to be very conservative on Saturday, minimize extra injuries as they kind of move through the season and kind of figure stuff out. I think middle keeps it interesting. I think the Hurricanes win, but I think the Blue Raiders cover, and I think by kickoff that's probably inside 24, 23 points.
Yeah, although I don't know a whole bunch about either of these teams, I do know that Miami looked like caca last weekend in College Station, who
Yeah.
had just recently lost to Appalachian
And
State, which
Texas A&M is not good either.
exactly my point here. So laying almost 4 touchdowns against somebody is not something you probably want to do with the team coming off of a loss like that.
Yep. So feel pretty good about where I sit with that. We'll flip over as we'll stay on Saturday, and you will give me your first pick, which shocker, your Michigan Wolverines -10 versus Maryland. Talk to me about this play.
Yeah, I think this is just a case of the fact that Michigan on offense, yes, I I've argued that I don't necessarily think that JJ McCarthy is going to take us to the promised land like everybody assumes, but the offense clearly operates better with him under center. They're a lot more explosive. Maryland is just kind of whatever. Like Loxley is not he is not going to unlock the Maryland potential with the Terrapins. And I don't think that this Tagovailoa is really shown anything. He's never really gotten to the level that they had anticipated, even last year with having, maybe the second or third best wide receiver core in the Big Ten. He was still up and down. This Michigan team on defense is what's really making them blow people out. And I think that's the reason why laying the 10, I feel comfortable with, even with knowing that there's a 9.5 out there. I'd rather, pay less and lay the extra half a point.
See, I'm really interested to see. I think this could be a game where I think you come through in the first half, but I think to his brother and his 3 wide receivers at Maryland are very good. And we saw it last week. It was a little slog at first, but ended up having a really nice game in the second half. And I think they could make it interesting. I like the first half over. I like the full game over. I think both offenses will do a lot. And then Cade, is he banged up this week, or is he expected to be able to play?
Yeah, so it's seeming like McNamara is probably going to miss this week, maybe even next. So, I mean, this is probably going to be JJ full go.
JJ fever, baby.
I mean,
get it in your veins.
Just to give you a good example, last year when these two teams played, Michigan won 59-14. So,
I think it'll be a lot more competitive this year. But yeah, I think your head is in the right spot, and I expect as much as I hate them for the Wolverines to play well, and that could be a nice play. So I like that. We'll stay in Saturday. I had a couple other things in mind, but my favorite is the Golden Gophers of Minnesota -2.5. I'm laying the -120, -2.5 to at Michigan State. We saw what Michigan State is against Washington. They are not a good team. Their secondary is really bad. Ohio State's going to put up 70 on them. Michigan's probably putting up 70 on them. Maryland's probably putting up 50 on them. I think Minnesota's offense seems to be fixed. Obviously, having Mo Ibrahim back helps establish that game. But the passing game looks like it did a couple years ago when they had Rashad Bateman, and it was like a fun offense. Tanner Morgan, it looks like he is kind of back to where he is. I know he's probably like 35 at this point, but that offense is fun, and they don't care about like being conservative, and even when they're up 3 touchdowns, they're willing to push it. Been riding them the last couple weeks, and I think this is another spot. Michigan State's worst part of their defense is that secondary, and Minnesota's offense, especially from the passing angle, is really, really good. So I think the Gophers go there. I think they get a big win. And I think the fact that Michigan State was ranked in the top 10 at one point is going to look awfully silly in the next couple weeks. So I am riding with the Gophers on the road, catching almost a field goal.
I do want to say, like, I absolutely love this pick. I
Yeah.
love Tanner Morgan, 50-year senior, and on the point of Ibrahim, he was probably going to lead the Big Ten in rushing last year before
Yeah.
getting injured. So I
Yeah, he
think
was
like
running all over Ohio State, probably going to beat
exactly,
Ohio State in week 1
yeah,
or week
like
2
this
before he got
this
hurt.
rushing attack is legit.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
I prefer the 2.5, but if you can only get the 3, I'm fine with that too. I think they can cover that. I just liked the little extra flexibility there.
Yep.
Let's go to the game that nobody saw coming. The
Yeah.
undefeated Kansas Jayhawks versus the undefeated Duke Blue Devils. And Brian, I just want to make sure you know this is not college basketball, right?
Yeah, no, I fully understand, but like it's funny because I actually work with somebody who is a Jayhawk alum. He actually works for the team. I think he does like team management stuff. And that place is going absolutely bonkers right now, by the way. It's the first 3-0 start in like over 20 years or something like that. Like this team is great. Duke is also doing well this year, started 3-0. Both of these teams are putting up a ton of points. Kansas has gotten to 66 or more points in all 3 of their games. Duke, likewise, I mean, they just scored it was 69 the total last weekend. They were at 54 the week before that against Northwestern, which has traditionally had a good defense. Like this Duke offense put up 30 on Temple, who looking back always has a good defense. So, I mean, 66 is probably the low end of what this game will be at the end of the third quarter. So, I mean, this to me was something that stood out immediately when I saw the number.
Yeah, this is the game that nobody saw coming, but is going to be incredibly fun.
Yes.
Even if you don't have it on the big screen, try and get it on for a few minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
Both these offenses are interesting. The game should be pretty action packed, and I appreciate you going with the full game, Brian, because we could easily get the first quarter slug.
It's like 34.5 too for the first half.
Yeah, so I think this is a good call.
Well,
I had a few.
I wanted to hit on real quick. Kansas has scored 48 or more points at all 3 of their games this year.
Yeah, their offense is like legitimately fun,
and they've played West Virginia and Houston too.
Yeah.
Those are not like schlubs.
No. We'll flip over. We'll talk Sunday, and I am going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars +7 against the Los Angeles Chargers. We saw what happened to Justin Herbert on Sunday or Thursday night football. Thursday night. Yeah. Obviously, we expect Justin Herbert to play, so it probably won't. I don't expect. Or I guess it's at LA, but we expect Herbert to play, so that's fine. But I think Jacksonville, like just having an offensive scheme, has been a game changer this year. I think having James Robinson actually look decent has been wild. Obviously, Christian Kirk's been very good.
Yep.
I think the Chargers do enough to get this win. I think it's a little bit lower scoring, a little bit closer than I think anyone really wants to admit. But I think the Chargers are good. I think they're really, really good, actually, and can easily come out of the AFC. But I think Jacksonville makes it interesting enough this week, maybe like a 24-20 kind of game, and covers that 7 points. So I will take the Jags on the road in LA.
Yeah, this is a really interesting line here. Getting that extra, like that 7, that's always been a key mark. Once you go over that 6 number, I mean, you're getting risky when laying the points. And for one thing that I think is the most important aspect of this spot is also Jacksonville's defense. Their front 7 is young. They're fast. They showed it last week in Indy. They got to the quarterback a ton. What is it? Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, from Georgia.
He looks fantastic coming off the edge. Like this game, like you said, could be a lot closer than what people think.
Do we have updates on Keenan Allen? Is he supposed to be back this week?
So just going back to the Chargers, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, they both practiced limited bases. JC Jackson, Chargers' best corner, did not practice. So he's dealing with a little bit of soreness. But mind you, we're recording this on a Wednesday. Practice reports are always, these guys going to take a rest. So take that for what you will.
Your final pick for the week, the Baltimore Ravens money line at New England. I love this pick. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, so right now, DK is offering this at -140. I'm fully comfortable doing that. Even on the road in New England, the blah blah blah, Bill Belichick, blah blah, like whatever. Baltimore is 2 times the team that New England is. They should have easily ran away with that game last weekend against
Yeah.
Miami. They're getting healthier on the defensive side of the ball. Their corners are starting to practice again. Marcus Peters returned last week. They could see the return of Ronnie Stanley this week, their big left tackle. Like it, J.K. Dobbins is practicing in full to start the week. Like maybe we see his debut in 2022.
Yeah.
Baltimore isn't even at full strength yet, and they already look like they're going to be an AFC contender. While
Yeah.
New England, they struggled with Pittsburgh. I mean, this is not
Yeah,
the Ben
against
Roethlisberger
Mitchell
Pittsburgh
Trubisky.
fault.
Yeah, and that was one of my favorite plays from last week. I'm with you. I don't think New England's very good. Mac Jones definitely can't do what Tua did with Waddle and
No,
Tyreek. So
absolutely
if the
not.
Ravens get up like I think they can, I think they run away with it. I don't mind Baltimore if you can get, especially if you can get the -2.5.
Yeah.
But if it's a full 3 and it's, I'd rather just go to the money line and not even risk it.
Well, and then just to show you, like when I mentioned this to Kyle that I was adding this to the card, he's like, "Wow, that's like -180, isn't it?" No, -140. So obviously, there's still value to be had on the
Yep.
Ravens on the road on the money line.
I like that at all, quite a bit. Brian, was there any other games you were considering before we hit our units for these 3 bets and get out of here?
Well, I mean, the Monday night game between my Cowboys and the Giants, like the game total under, which is already getting steamed lower.
Yeah.
If somehow or another some book has been sleeping at the wheel and you can find that at like 40, I would be smashing
Yeah.
that. I know it's like 39 already, maybe even 38.5 at some places, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of offense in that matchup. Saquon has always been bottled up against the Cowboys. Daniel Jones is crap. I don't care what they've done this
He's
year.
bad.
And then
I was
the Cowboys offense is very limited with Cooper
Yeah.
Rush. He operates it well, but it's kind of a ball control type of thing.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I really like Indy this week. I was gonna put him on the card. I got it at 7. It's now down to 5.5, pretty much across the board. Really makes me feel gross. If I had to play it, I would definitely take Indy, not KC. But at this point, maybe it's better to stay away. I think the Packers Bucks line. Did you see the total for this game? It opened at 48, 49, and it's down to 40, 41 now. It's
Whoa!
cratered. Apparently, just with the lack of pass catchers, no Mike Evans. They think it's going to be a lot of Fournette, a lot of the Packers running backs, and both teams just quickly getting out of Dodge and calling it a day. I think the Falcons Seahawks could actually be a sneaky over. That is 41.5, 42. I think both
I like that.
offenses
Well,
can
I
do a
do like
little more, and I don't think their defenses are quite as good. So I think, but that could be a little bit fun, and we were both kind of on this, but Arizona at
I was
home,
just gonna, yeah, I forgot to
plus,
mention that, but Arizona at home, I think there's some value to be had. If you think they can contend with LA, just skip over the line or the spread and take them on the money line as a home dog here. They showed it in the fourth quarter what they're capable of,
yeah,
and the Rams have shown that there are some holes in their team this year. So I think that there's a good chance that the Cardinals could produce another performance like they did in LA last year early on.
yep. And I think the Broncos are nothing in the Sunday night game. The Niners are getting all the love that was 2.5. Now it's the Broncos are a 1.5 dog. I think that's a little aggressive. I like the Niners a lot. I think they're definitely gonna be a Super Bowl team, but that number scares the hell out of me. So
Yeah.
I would look to either play Broncos or nothing. Brian, why don't you recap your card and then give us the units for the week?
Yeah, so beginning off the card, I'm going to go with Michigan first half -10 against Maryland. This one is going to be a nice little 3-unit play. I feel pretty confident that that offense is fully humming against a Maryland team, which I don't think is as good as what people think. Kansas versus Duke over the 66.5. This is going to be a slugfest. I'm going to go pretty heavy here and go 4 units on that play. I think this is probably my most confident play in college football this weekend. I think that this is going to be a fireworks show. And then Baltimore money line -140 against the New England Patriots. Baltimore to me is it's not even close who the better team is, but I'm gonna still play it safe, and I'm gonna go with 3 units. I mean, that's not too safe, but Baltimore on the road in New England, it's slightly scary, but they're way better than the Patriots.
Yeah, especially after last week, that does give you a little cause for pause. But I think they crushed them and have a really good game. My favorite bet of the week is Minnesota minus a 2.5 at Michigan State. I will lay 4 units on that at minus 120. I'm going to put 3 units on Middle Tennessee against Miami. I think they cover that number. I think it's probably a little closer than the number suggests. It's 3 touchdowns. Even if they win by that you still cover with ease. So I put 3 units there, and then I have Jacksonville plus the 7 at LA, and that is a 2 unit play this week. I think it is a fun play and a number that I think will be very, very comfortable come the fourth quarter. So those are our 6 plays. Let us know down in the comments your favorite plays. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. Smash the thumbs up if you've made it this far. That means you're enjoying what we're doing. We're here each and every week with 6 plays for you to consider. And we will be back next week to recap all that was and get you set for another week, as the NFL will be a month have gone for a month by the time we record our next show.
That's
so
sickening.
Pretty wild stuff. That is Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time.